Alright, this looks like it's everyone, so let's start our music disc.
Let's get that party started.
Alright. Hello everyone, welcome back. Thanks for joining us today. Not a huge thing, not a huge meeting today, but we've got a few interesting topics to discuss. Some important announcements, upcoming events, things of that nature. So I'm going to tackle these in no particular order. Normally I go left to right, but I'm just going to, go whichever one. So yeah, feel free to, if there's anything you guys would like to see talked about, just feel free anytime during the meeting, just pop off a sign and throw it up, and we'll talk about it. So let's start with, I guess we'll start off with the Waystones first, the Waystones and Wayshrines plugins. So in the, I think it was the I don't think we had this in the. We didn't have a newsletter actually. Last week, this week, things have been really slow. So, but it was my plan to merge the server meeting blog post the with the newsletter this week. Yeah, that's right. So on this last sign here, it says that server meetings with the newsletter. So just while things are a bit quiet, when things were really busy, when I was setting the server up, we were really busy for a few weeks there. It was sort of, the pace was a lot quicker. It was every week, but things are a bit quiet at the moment, at least until things speed up again. We'll just include the server meetings with the newsletters. So, waystones and way shrines. So if you go to the Ancient Worlds website, go to the forums and general discussion, there are 2 thread topics in here for 2 plugins that we're concepting at the moment: waystones and shrines. So yeah, if you guys have any ideas for either of these plugins, just check those out in the forums. So we're going to flesh out the idea of the plugin as much as we can, and then once we've got a really good solid concept down, we'll probably get that plugin made for the server, custom made. So the Shrines plugin is going to be a new method to worship and pray and give offerings to the gods of the ancient worlds. So normally, how do you do it now? You just build a shrine to, say, what's an example? Vastian. You would build a shrine to Vastian, and you leave an offering, and then you leave him a private message or something, or you send him a message on Discord, and you hope that he, when next time he's online, he'll come over and etc. But with the Shrine plugin, we want to have it a little bit more streamlined. So it's all the information on that is on the forum there. So check that out. The Waystone plugin. Sorry. The Waystone plugin is going to be our solution to having a set home command, because we get a lot of new players on that. You guys know when we get new players on, one of the first questions they ask is, how do I set my home? And from there we have to give them some detailed explanation. Type F, create faction, then claim some land, and then F, set, warp. It's a bit convoluted, and I feel like that a lot of new players, they don't really want to. We don't want them to jump through so many hoops just so they can set their home point. And while at the same time, I think just having a / set home is a little bit lazy as well. Like, I think we could do something better than that. So the Waystone plugin idea is my idea for having a more, I guess, immersive way of having a set home. So details of that are on the forums. So check that out and post your ideas if you have any. Alright. So that's the Waystones and Shrines. We've got updates to the vote shop. So if you do / vote shop, you'll see that we've got a new selection of items. Welcome, Turtle Shroom. I don't think he's on the Discord. Sorry about that. Okay, so yeah, if you guys type /vote shop, you'll see that we've got some new selection of items in there. I was thinking of changing the diamond to an emerald, but I don't know what you guys think of that. But overall, we've got some price changes in there and one or two new items. So check that out. The general store has seen some updates. The general store at Voyager's Wharf. So if you guys visit Voyager's Wharf anytime soon, you check out the new items that are being sold in there. Plus the Coalwave has updated the buybacks. So if you guys are into the buybacks as a way to make currency, that's been updated with some new items. Anything you'd like to add? Coalwave, I know you have a cold and such, but
How ironic. Coldwave's got a cold.
yeah. I know not everyone is here, but has anyone any more? The next hint for the hunt will be posted today. Awesome. Good timing too. Right in time for the meetings. Yeah, the hunt. So Coalwave has got this new event chain going where there's a random artifact or item somewhere in the world, like a one-of-a-kind item, and if you can find it and bring it back, you get like a big payout for it, and he's leaving hints and things like that. So I think there was one hint to start with, and now the second hint's coming out. So the first hint was that it's in a tavern. Is that correct? It was in a tavern somewhere. And we all know there's a bunch of those around the world, so next hint might make that a little easier to find. Yeah, I think the payout is like 20k right now. Yeah. Has anyone lost any data, again, like since the last meeting? Any XP, item loss? Arvine, you having a problem? We, yeah, that sucks. Sorry about that, mate. That's really bad luck. Well, we pinpointed the problem with the XP, so it was actually rather simple. The XP loss that everyone was experiencing, that was actually from our XP economy plugin. I thought it was the player data, but it was actually the plugin itself, so we've replaced that. So we shouldn't have any more XP issues. We have removed the player data plugin for the time being, just because we did that just to rule it out. But now that we know it was the XP, we're going to bring that back, and hopefully we don't have any more problems going forward, because we really do need that for our plans going forward. With some of the new worlds we're coming up with, we need to be able to have our player data available. So yeah, if you guys have any problems with data loss, please report it, and yeah, we'll try to solve those issues as best we can. Oh yeah, so basically, Turtle Shroom, we've got a new way of handling player data on the server, because we're running a network of servers now, and we want to be able to have our inventories transfer between servers. So normally all the player data is on the same server as the ancient world, and when you log in, it loads the player data from there. But the way we're running it now is all the player data is stored on a external server, on a separate server. And when you go through a portal to go to a different server, like say for example you go from the ancient world to the lobby, because the lobby is actually on a different server as the ancient world is, it pulls the data from the external server as you move across. So it's kind of like a cloud. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. They are part of the player data. Ender chests. Yep. ender chests, inventories, XP, all that sort of stuff. Yeah. So the reason why we want to do that is I know we haven't revealed a lot about this yet, but with the dungeon worlds, we're coming up with these new world ideas, and these dungeon worlds are going to be existing on different servers because they're going to have different gameplay elements, different mechanics. So that's something that we can't do with one server. That's pretty much like 90% of the reason why we've created this chain of servers, so we can have these other places that we can explore and have different plugins and things like that without having compatibility issues. That's the idea, Turtle Shroom. Yeah, we're gonna have that's the whole idea behind Dungeon Worlds. So it's a developing idea, but we're gonna have a lot more on that very soon. Actually, one of the signs up here is about that. I've put up here Ancient Worlds Beta, but that's actually supposed to be Dungeon Worlds Beta. I've made a mistake there. Actually, while we're on the topic, so our first dungeon world is ready for beta, I think. I've done a lot of testing with it, and I think it's ready to go. We're having some issues with it for a while, especially with the player data, but it's pretty safe right now, so I'm thinking either this coming weekend or the weekend after we'll be having an open beta event. This will be more details on this will be in the blog post in the next newsletter, and including the time and the date. But it's going to be an open beta event coming up very soon, so check that out, guys. Alright. Two more of my own topics up here before we go on to the player topics. Factions. Alright, so this is just an announcement of this. We're not gonna have an official date set right now, but we have to change our factions plugin because the current faction plugins we're using right now is quite frankly shit. And as you guys know, if you do /f list, you can't even look at the first list of factions, and that's only the beginning. There's a lot of problems with this plugin. It hasn't been updated. It's not even compatible with 1.14 really. Yeah, it's gone. Yeah, and actually the plugin we're using now, the factions plugin we're using now, it is the Massive Craft faction plugin, but it's not even updated by the original developer. I think someone else updated it and for 1.13, and we're using that. So it's kind of like a an improvised updated version. So it's really not adequate. There's another faction plugin called Savage Factions. It's made by I think it's developed from the ground up by a different developer. One second. Someone's having problems. I don't know why Care can't hear me. But yeah, we're gonna. The reason why I don't want to announce it officially yet that we're doing it, because I haven't actually tested the Savage Factions plugin yet. I know it works. I know we have it over on the Vert World server, and it works fine. But I need to run tests on it here, so to make sure that it's not going to conflict with our other plugins, especially our chat plugin. What do you mean, Arvine? faction cannoning, do you mean TNT cannons? Because I don't think TNT cannons even work. TNT is disabled on the ancient world. I see. Yeah. Well, I think we've gone through this before. The Ancient Worlds isn't really one of those servers, so really we only use it for claiming and things like that. It's really its main purpose here. Okay, so the last of my signs is villager trading. So we had a staff meeting last week, and we talked about villager trading, villager farming, and we feel that in the long run it's not going to be a really great thing for the ancient worlds. So we're considering disabling villager trading, mainly because it's a bit overpowered in the way that you can just gather a bunch of villagers in a room or whatever and have like really easy access to very rare things in the world from the world that I don't think it's just a bit of an unfair advantage, I think, especially when we're going to have economy and things like that. But see, we don't really want to moderate it though, Turtle Shroom. So like we can have 100 rules on how they can be used, but that's just over complicating things. Yeah, it's still something that we have to check up on and moderate. So
The thing is, we're not. The topic is about the trading itself and not like housing.
yeah,
Um,
that's right.
the the villagers. So yeah, if you want to build a nice little town for them, go ahead. But we're just mainly talking about the items you can get from the villagers.
Yeah. So we're not going to turn off villagers. We're not going to stop them from spawning, or we're not going to kill them all or anything like that. We're just going to disable their trading function. So when you right click a villager, there will be no trade window basically. We've had this on the server before. We've had this on there once before and it worked out pretty well. It's more of a quality of life thing. I think it's going to be better off not having that. Yeah, I don't. I mean, we could allow the wandering trader, but I'm not sure if I'm not sure we can separate that. Like, if we turn off villager trading windows, I think that's just a across the board thing. I don't think there's a separate option, but I can look into it.
But anyway, the main point about the items is that whatever you can get from villagers, at least the ones that we think are like exclusive to trading to villagers, will be available at the general shop.
Yes, like the mending, right? So
Yeah.
yeah. So
So it's not we're not banning those items, just to make it clear. It's just we're facilitating it instead of having players being able to spawn hundreds of them by trading.
yeah, that's right. And I don't think that's it's one of those things that I don't think Mojang really considered or intended. I think it was more like, you know, intended for, you're exploring the world and you find a village and then you do some trading and then you go on your way. I don't think it was really the intention to have like a farm. But that's just the way things evolve on servers like this. So yeah. Uh, Reconfigured Squidward trading. I haven't seen a plugin that does that, but I guess that could be an option. we did have a plugin a while back called Shopkeepers that allowed us to have specific villages. Like we could have villages in the city, like Voyager's Wharf. So, for example, you could go to we could set up a shop at Voyager's Wharf to sell certain items. We had that at Port Orange a few years ago. But yeah, it's on the agenda to disable those trading. That's the main thing, and we may repurpose villages later. So yeah, keep an eye out on the newsletter for the newsletter. We're gonna put that out after this server meeting, probably tomorrow. So we'll have more details on some of the things we talked about today, as well as probably a confirmed date for the Dungeon Worlds beta. So Care, I know you missed that. We were talking about we're having a beta event for the Dungeon Worlds coming up in the next week or two. So more details on that in the newsletter. So we got a couple player signs here. Let's have a look. Ban system rewrite. Sorry. Turtle, this is your sign? Would you like to explain that to us? Yes, you do get well, bans are permanent, yes, unless appeal is made. So if someone gets banned for something, they stay banned until they themselves make an appeal, or someone close to them, or one of their friends, or someone makes an appeal for them. That's right. We don't do yeah. The only reason that's in place in that way is because it's more to do with the history of this server. In the past, we've had we've had these sort of systems that you're talking about, where someone's only banned for a few days or a week, and we found it's very ineffective. People tend to just do the same thing. When people know that they're going to be unbanned again, they just keep doing it. And I understand that eventually, maybe there should be a system where if they're banned a certain amount of times, it should be a permanent ban after that, after the fact. But
Well, I mean, it's not like you're banned for life. There is an option to appeal. So it's, if you make a good argument, or if you do show that you're sorry for what you've done and you acknowledge that you've broken a rule, it doesn't seem like you are banned forever. Jack can be a very reasonable guy.
yeah, Also, just to add to that, I feel that saying, like, if you type in /rules and it says in there that bans are permanent, I feel like that's a good deterrent for cheating as well. Like, if someone's thinking about cheating and they've read the rules, they've been warned, and yeah. I mean, it's really. I guess it's also at my own discretion. If someone does something minor, I mean, I'm less likely to give them a permanent ban. I might only give people. I've given people plenty of warnings for things. I think I discovered someone auto AFK fishing a few times recently, and I just AFK, like, I just kick them and then leave them a warning sign. Um, I've seen people XP farming dungeon, like, spawners. I've done the same thing. I've / kicked them from the server and then left warning signs. So there's definitely warnings in place. It's not always it hasn't always been a ban. AFK farming, yeah. Yeah, so the way it's outlined in the rules, so um, it's mainly AFK things. So we want people to earn XP from actively playing, not from AFKing for 8 hours or whatever. Or, you know, it depends on the mob grinder. If it's one of those grinders where you have to manually, like, hit the zombie as it like a zombie spawns out of a spawner, and then you create a barrier, then you bash the zombie with a sword and you collect XP. That in my book isn't really bad, because you're still sort of playing the game. But if you've got a system set up that if you've got a system set up that automatically funnels monsters down a tunnel and then kills them, drowns them, and then you collect XP while you're AFK for 8 hours, then. But I've put in the AFK timer for 60 minutes to combat that.
Doesn't that That's irrelevant. As long as you're working for it, yeah, as long as you're working for your XP, it's fine. Don't worry about if those grinders work or not. Just work for your XP.
Yeah, that's the way that's the way we think it should be. So anyway, that's a bit off topic. Yeah, so the banning stuff. So you're proposing that we have, like, a whole system in place, and I don't know. Maybe if we get more players on and there's a lot more going on. But right now, especially with dedicated players, I think they should know better, and they know the repercussions for cheating. And I don't think there's that much ignorance going on. I think most people, I think it's common sense when someone's like this. It's really obvious when things are you should not be allowed. Like, okay, for example, Turtle Sawyer, he was very obviously cheating, and he knew he was cheating. And even if, I mean, I don't know, it's just, I don't want to get into the details of it, but yeah, he definitely wasn't ignorance.
Um, I personally think that donors should be still on the same level field,
Yeah,
playing field as everyone else. Just because they donate doesn't mean they can cheat and have a,
that's
you
right.
know,
It doesn't matter if you're a donor or you've been on the server for 8 years. In fact, if you've been on the server 8 years, that's even more reason why you shouldn't, be breaking the rules, because they kind of. I think most people who have been here a few years know what's right and wrong by now. We don't have a lot of rules, guys. We really haven't got that much. We used to have so many rules, it was crazy, and I don't really want to go down that path again either. We had, like, if you guys go back to like the Age of Darkness, we had like three entire signboards of rules, like and I think the problem with that was that people used to just bend the rules all the time.
Just if you feel like you're doing something wrong, don't do it.
In that case, Turtle Shroom, if someone's been on the server for a long time and they slipped up in stupidity, then that should be their appeal. I think that should be in their appeal. If they make an appeal, that's when they say, oh, I slipped up, and try to make things right. And that's when appeals happen.
Yeah, Coldway has a good point. If you guys see any XP exploits, don't be afraid to
Any exploit,
inform any of the staff.
yeah.
Yeah,
If you guys
any
find
of the
any
staff.
exploits, yeah. It depends on the severity as well. Like if someone found an exploit that allowed them to teleport, like just recently, people were teleporting with the MCMMO plugin, and that was unintentional because I had disabled that. But I think they found a command or something that bypassed it. So when I found out about that, I didn't ban anyone. A few people were using it to their advantage, but no one was banned. It was just I just fixed it. I just fixed the exploit. It depends on the severity, but um, you know, there's someone that's using that as an exploit, teleporting to their friends. It's not very serious, but then there's someone who's exploiting, thousands, hundreds of thousands of XP, and using that to purchase the gift of the month, which is a limited item. It sort of takes away from other players. I think that's a little bit more serious, but just as an example. I would argue that, Turtle, because now that XP is money and not just XP, it has a bit more of an effect. What do you mean by reparations? That's right. It's sort of that's right, Gumfist. Oh, that's, yeah. I 100% agree with that. Yeah, yeah.
I don't know about that. If you only lose your wealth, you're just losing items that can be reattained again. It's not exactly because XP exploiting any exploit money exploit, you're giving yourself an advantage over other players, and I feel like you knowing that you're having an advantage over other people and you're making all these items, all this money, I feel like you should have definitely um worse punishment than just losing the stuff that you got for free, essentially.
Yeah.
Because there really is no like, oh, I lost anything. It's like it's all the stuff you made. So just losing the stuff you made, you just get reset to where you were before you were exploiting. I think it's a bannable offense.
And I'm just speaking for myself here. I don't want people to do that. Like, I don't want people to exploit or cheat at all. Like, I don't want them to do it at all. I don't want to ban anyone. I just want to make that clear. I don't like banning people.
So losing all your assets, sorry, Jack.
That's good.
Losing all your assets, still you can reattain all of those. It's not too hard to reattain your wealth. It's why you play Minecraft. It's to build up all this stuff. It's just playing the game more.
Yeah, and we don't want to foster like a I guess getting into it a bit, if people aren't banned for things, if they lose some gameplay items, then it's sort of, I think over time it might foster the mindset that, oh, you can do this on the server if you can get away with it, rather than I better not do this or I'm not going to be able to play anymore. I think that's a better incentive. We don't want people doing that at all. We don't want it to be, it's not a role play thing. We don't want to jail someone for exploiting. We want to jail people for role play reasons. We want to have fines and things for role play reasons, but we don't want to. I think there's a difference between cheating, like hacks and stuff as well, but that's even more serious, right? Anyway.
Yeah, we're gonna have to disagree with you on that one.
Yeah. It's a hot topic, guys, but I think for the time being, I think our rules are just fine as they are right now, and I'm just going to keep things the way they are. But,
If you have any questions about anything, you can always ask any of the staff or Drac. And if you do get banned, there is always the option of appeal. Just to clarify anything that, since we got deep into this topic, I just want to resurface us here.
yeah. No, we're not gonna get into that really. We want to do it. We want to do a system with ordinators for other things. Like we want to have a jail set up for minor crimes. Like if someone breaks blocks or something at spawn or steals from someone, we want to have jail terms and things. But I think that's something that we're going to have later on as well when we get more people on. Like when things pick up again. Things are kind of quiet right now. So we've only got how many ordinators? Three ordinators. So we're probably going to need more of them eventually, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Let's move on to another sign. Jobs, MCMMO, these should still pay in materials. Is this your sign, Turtleshroom? In quartz. Ah. Yeah. Yeah, we had a job plugin in the last stage where you would do jobs and you would get paid in quartz. It's always I think what you're saying, we could have because already you can get gold, right? If you mine gold, you can sell gold at the general store, and we could have a job plugin that pays out in gold, and then you can use that gold to trade it in for XP. Why quartz though? There's so many quartz already in the world, like so many. Yeah, well, quartz was our currency in the last stage. Yeah, all the people, that civilization's dead, so, you know. I mean, can you imagine going back to the Roman, like getting the Roman money, like Roman coins, and using them as currency now? I don't think, like, it's ancient, it's artifact, it's an artifact now. But, oh, you don't want it as currency, you just want it as an item to get for jobs. But what do you do with quartz after you get... You're working for quartz, but then what? I see.
We could sell it at spawn if you're so hell bent on quartz, or any like old ruins. I'm sure people have chest upon chest of quartz, or somebody will trade you quartz.
We'd have to make the payout really low though, because I think some like that was got really bloated last stage. Like, if you guys remember how many quartz there was so much. Yeah, some
Oh
events
yeah,
as
or
well.
wait for cold waves events. Yeah, so it's easy money. It's still fair. You can get XP from doing a lot of things. It's just like the jobs plugin, except Minecraft. It's vanilla Minecraft.
We wanted to have it like that for it's easier. It's supposed to be easier. We did raise the prices of the general store, but I agree. I agree with you that in a sense that it should be in a survival server, and we shouldn't have that sort of access to. But we try to not make the items too rare. We just put a few things in there, but yeah, that's true. I'm not against that. That's also the same reasoning behind removing villager trading. Same thing. I don't think you can buy diamonds though. You can only sell them for XP.
Yeah, the general's shop is there for players to obtain items that are no longer available by normal means.
To be fair though, if something is unavailable, that's I mean that what's wrong with that though? In a way, it kind of increases the value of that item, and that it makes things more interesting with player shops, especially if someone actually sells something very rare. It just opens up all opportunities like that. But I'm not a huge fan of just selling things in the general store just because players can't get them any other way. Because, like, say for example, mending books, right? If we didn't have villager trading and we didn't have mending books in the general store, it's not exactly impossible for someone to get a mending book because they do exist in the world. Someone has them, and in a way, if you know that a certain faction has mending books, it also increases incentive to, raid and stuff. I'm not usually a fan of increasing incentive for people to fight, but it does add value to things, is what I'm saying. Now, I wouldn't mind if the general store only bought things from you. So, say, like, how do you guys feel about the general store only buying diamonds from you? And just as a way, like, have the general store renamed to something like the currency exchange. Oh, they can mine it, yeah. If someone's mining diamonds to sell them at the general store, then it's working as intended. Because we want to reward people for playing and you know
Yeah, I don't think the general store is very overpowered. Like, plus we raised the prices on items, so it's like player shops can still undercut the general store if they want to.
yeah.
Like, I think it's fair where it is right now.
in a way, it's sort of fulfilling the role of a jobs plugin, and that was the intention of having XP currency as well. Um, Trying to minimize the amount of plugins we have, especially unnecessary plugins, and I think it's really cool how XP sort of undercuts a jobs plugin in a way, because there's heaps of ways to get XP with Minecraft as it is, and we should take advantage of that.
Um, think, yeah, you don't have to. We can see it once already. I think the general store is good where it is. The buying idea is cool too. Um, like selling your diamonds to the general store is like a currency exchange. That's good. Uh, about your thing about everyone mining diamonds. I mean, everyone's mining diamonds anyway. It's the best resource. So just having it being able to be converted into currency is really no change, no difference in that anyway.
We should also make it a point moving forward to not expand the general store too much. Like, I think it's pretty good where it is. We don't need to add tons more things to sell in there either. I think we're good where we are. It's not too much. It's funny with this. I think this topic started with we're talking about jobs. We always get off topic, don't we?
There's some underlining things in every topic.
Yeah, there is.
There's a
Yeah.
lot to talk about.
Yeah. Would anyone like to add anything else about jobs, currency, the general store? The decision right now, I think we're just going to keep things the way it is, as it is now. Yeah.
Yeah, we're not handing out anything. You still have to earn XP to buy it. So everything's fine.
Yep. Feel free to pitch it next time. And if more people feel the same way, everyone's welcome to pitch their opinions on that, and we're always open to change things if majority want it. So take meetings in traditional, using books as backup. This is the last sign. If anyone wants to add any more signs, feel free to do so, but this seems to be the last sign on the board. Is this yours, Turtle? Minutes. Yeah. Well, I certainly can't do that myself, but if anyone wants to do that, that's fine by me. I mean, we do have recordings. That's sort of what the how I upload this video to YouTube shortly after. So it's kind of fulfilling that purpose for people who weren't here. They can catch up on it. But I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
Kind of like.
I think it's good where it is. I mean, we have a blog post and everything about it. Everything doesn't have to be in Minecraft. I think the website with a blog post and
Turtle, would you like to volunteer to do that for us? Yeah, that's cool. If you want to do that, yeah, we can provide the book and. Yeah, it does aliens. Yeah. Sounds good. Oh, except for that one time, Grumfist, when I forgot to turn on my microphone. That was about an hour of silence. No, that was fail. Oh, my voice was there for the actual meeting, but the video recording, I forgot to turn on my microphone. So normally I switch that off when I'm recording normal gameplay because my microphone emits a lot of noise, but I forgot to turn it back on again for the meeting. So this has been a rather short server meeting, but we got some important announcements out of the way. So just to recap some of the big ones. So we've got a new factions plugin coming up. So we're gonna have a grace period for that, guys. So keep an eye out on the newsletter for that. We're gonna have a specific date when we're gonna change the plugin over. All the faction data is gonna be lost, so you guys are gonna have to claim your stuff back. We'll probably have I don't know how long the grace period would be. I'm open for suggestions on that. 1 week, 2 weeks, 2 days, however long you guys think. 2 weeks grace period, yeah. And we're gonna have a Dungeon Worlds beta. So we're gonna be opening up the first Dungeon World as a beta very soon. There's gonna be a release date for that coming up in the next week or two. So keep an eye out for that, guys. Yeah, we want to give people enough time to claim their things. And yeah, that's it, guys. I think that's everything. Unless you guys have any other topics you'd like to talk about today? No? Oh yeah, the XP loss. So we talked about that earlier. So we fixed that issue. That's been fixed. But we're still sorting out some kinks with another plugin. Not sure I should go back into that again. It's kind of a big topic, but I did already cover that earlier in the video. So check out the video. Yeah, watch the video where I talked about that. I like your hat, Aliens. Is that also the gift of the month you're wearing on your back? You know, I had a dream the other night. I know this is sad, having dreams about the ancient world, but I actually had a dream, right? You ready for this? Okay.
Oh, here we go.
There was a skull. I think it was the skull of aliens, right? It was I think it was a wither skull, and it was like frost. It was like frost themed or something. It was a skull of aliens. I think it was to do with the Siberian god or something. And what you did was you'd find the skull, and the skull by itself didn't have any kind of powers. But then you'd find a trident. So there were two items. There was the skull. You had to find the skull, and then you had to find the trident, and you put them together, and it creates like a ice staff, and you can shoot ice and freeze people and stuff. How cool's that? It's definitely a good idea. When I woke up, I thought, yes, gift of the month next month for sure.
Quickly writes it down as soon as he wakes up.
Yeah, but we need some way to shoot ice. I don't know how to do that. Oh, that's my phone, guys.
All right. Well, on that note, it's probably a good time to end the meeting. So, thank you guys for all coming today. Thank you for your opinions. And thanks for listening. This is Roderick.
That was the wrong number someone called.
Track, did we get artifacts on TAW, by the way? The plugin.
Artifacts on TAW?
Yeah, the plugin that we talked about.
Oh shit, I can't even remember what you're talking about, hey. you send me a link or something?
Yeah.
Giving yourself a little smooch over there, Jack.